This reading is from a book titled All These Wonders, True Stories About Facing the Unknown. It was written by a woman who suffered a sudden tragedy, made all the worse by the institutions that were supposed to help. And now, Walking with RJ by Stephanie Parolo. I was 23 when I had my first child. I was in labor for 3 days before RJ was born. So when I first laid eyes on him, I felt nothing but exhaustion. But it wasn't until later, when he was in my arms, that I felt it. That rush of maternal love, and I thought, this is it. This is how the species survives. I had another child, Emma. Soon after that, their father and I divorced. He moved to Europe and I raised the kids by myself. Well, fast forward, we're living in Seattle. Both kids are in high school and they're doing great, getting straight A's. RJ only gets in trouble for wearing his hair long. He goes to Catholic school and you're supposed to have your hair above your collar. Well, in the fall of his junior year, he's cast as the lead in the school play To Kill a Mockingbird. He's playing Atticus Finch, so he had to get his hair cut. And I remember him walking out of that barber shop with a crew cut. He was 6 feet tall and impossibly handsome, and I thought, wow, this is the man he's becoming. Well, in January of RJ's junior year, a cop showed up at our door and asked, "Are you RJ's mom?" I said, yes. There's been an accident. Oh my God, is he hurt? I believe so, but we have to get to the hospital right away. Well, the cop drove me to Harborview, the hospital with the trauma center. We walked in and I saw RJ being wheeled away on a gurney. It took a couple of hours to find out what had happened. RJ had been driving to his best friend's house wearing a seatbelt and with no drugs or alcohol in his system, but he was hit from the side in a blind intersection. He sustained a traumatic brain injury, a TBI, broken bones, and a broken pelvis. Well, I was the vice president of an advertising agency that had recently changed its insurance plan. I didn't yet have my list of benefits known as a summary plan description. What I had was an insurance card with a phone number printed on the back. So, while RJ's in the ICU, I call the number, and a voice on the phone tells me ICU is covered, intensive brain injury rehab is covered, skilled nursing facility is, and they list off all these great benefits. And I remember thinking, thank God I don't have to worry about health insurance. I've done everything right. I'm the vice president of a company. So RJ was discharged from ICU and transferred to a rehab facility. But shortly after he got there, they called and said, ma'am, your insurance company called and said RJ's benefits are up on Friday. And I said, no, he's got many more benefits. But of course I didn't have the summary plan description. So I went to the rehab facility in person and I said, well, where am I supposed to take him? He's in a coma. And they said, well, ma'am, there's always foster care. So Emma and I just took RJ home. He made his bedroom into a hospital room. He had a feeding tube in his stomach. And that's how he pumped in nutrition. Emma was 15 and she said, Mom, I will help you take care of RJ any way I can, as long as it doesn't involve the speedo zone. So when his diapers needed to be changed, she would bring me a bucket of warm water and washcloths and I would clean them up. But I still couldn't get that summary plan description. And then I realized this was not just some bureaucratic mix-up, it was intentional and illegal. A violation of a law called ERISA, the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of 1974. So I called a lawyer for help. And then he said, I can help you, but you have to give me a retainer of $30,000. And I said, let me be clear. I'm a single parent. I paid to set up a hospital room in my house. I pay a nurse to sit with my son so that I can go to my job, so that I can stay employed, so I can keep this insurance. I don't have $30,000. And he said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Well, At this point, I was very concerned about getting fired because I had taken so much time off. So I applied for and was granted unpaid family leave. And shortly into my family leave, I was fired. These things are illegal, but you can't call the cops on a corporation. And I couldn't afford an attorney. So when RJ turned 18, he went on Medicaid, and I decided to put him into a nursing home that specialized in patients with TBIs. They took good care of RJ, and he continued to make slow progress. He could do thumbs up for yes and thumbs down for no. But in August of 2005, RJ got very sick. At first, we thought it was the flu. He still had his feeding tube in his stomach, but it had fallen out. When that happens, you just put it right back in. You're supposed to x-ray to make sure you have it in the right place. Well, this facility couldn't afford x-rays, so they guessed. And they guessed wrong. His food started going into his abdominal cavity, which caused sepsis. At the hospital, the surgeon said to me, ma'am, I can operate on RJ and I might save his life, but he's going back into a deep coma and he will never come out. Or you can let him go. I'm sorry, ma'am, you have to decide. So I did. I went to see RJ in his room, and he was completely aware of what was happening, and his eyes were open with fear. And I said, honey, you're very sick, and they can't fix you, so you're going to God. But my father's there, and I will be there very soon. It had taken RJ 3 days to enter this world, and it took him 3 days to die. People ask how we cope. Well, my friends started a nonprofit to help people fight their insurance company to get covered benefits. I'm the chair of the board, and we have good lawyers that help. RJ would be 21 today, and I still have that strong maternal love for him. Most mornings I wake up to a world darkened by his absence, like there's been a total eclipse of the sun. Only I'm the only one who can see it, and I know the light is never coming back. But there are times when I feel RJ's presence. And it's in those moments I know that it's his love that now must carry me.